Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. My name is Louis Mendes. This is the big match preview. Hope you guys are all well on your Thursday evening as we gear up for Saturday's trip up to Stockport and, of course, look back at yet another win in SC7, the 1-0 victory over Barnsley on Tuesday night. Joining me to discuss those two games. First up, top right, Mr. Nathan Miller. Hey, dear Nath.
Living the dream. It's all positive, isn't it? Lovely to see your little faces with your matching T-shirts on, your little minxes.
Yeah, the more attentive amongst you will notice that I have unveiled my very own yellow away shirt for the first time this season. So I can finally match Tom Wallen bottom of the screen. How you doing, Tom?
Life doesn't get much better than that, does it? I am right that you didn't have that on when we were waiting to come on, did you? So
I was wearing a jumper in the waiting room, so I could surprise you live on air to see what you thought.
Honestly, it makes me feel very proud.
Yeah,
so,
it's better than you like having a malfunction. You just turning up at the start of the show like topless or something.
Well, yeah, some of us have done that before.
Wait till Wembley, maybe.
Yeah, no. Sue very, very kindly picked me up this yellow shirt on Tuesday night. The more attentive amongst you might notice there's a bit of a Castor special. There's a slight issue with it. And there's no Charlton badge on it. So, yeah, classic Castor. I'm glad we're getting rid of them. Whoever was in the sweatshop at that point forgot to glue it on. But, yeah, we'll on today's show, enough about the shirt. On today's show, we'll look back at the game with Barnsley. We're going to hear the goal. We're going to hear from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones. We're going to hear from the goal scorer as well, Macaulay Gillesphey. Then we'll start to turn our attention to the trip up to Stockport County, Edgeley Park. We're going to hear from Russ. From the Scarf Bagara War later on in the show. And, of course, we'll hear again from Nathan Jones as we look ahead to that game. Before we hear the goal, Nathan Miller, 1-0 win again at the Valley. Just what we do. Just keep winning games. We can't stop ourselves.
It's how we roll, mate. It's how we're rolling at the moment. But, yeah, I think, to be fair, Barnsley, their away form is very, very good. They just had that little bit of inconsistency, really. And I thought they started the game very, very well. Gave us a little bit of a kick up the backside to say, not every game's going to be a given and all of that jazz. But like a lot of times this season, we've won games by fine margins, where in previous seasons we wouldn't have won that game. We would have drawn that game 18 months ago and whatnot. And I think the way that we press and the way that the team are gelling even more by each game that it comes, we're really solid at the back, and it gives us a little bit of a platform to try and win those games 1-0, albeit their goalie was banter for our goal. You've got to have a shot to score. So, and a good, a sign of a good team and getting promoted or winning games when you're not smashing teams and, when you don't really deserve it. I'm not saying we didn't deserve the win. I just think it was one of those scrappy professional performances, which I think I've said a lot of times this year. And I think that's key in a lot of the home form that we've created there. And a lot of teams won't like to play us at home. And it's going to be another big test on Saturday. And it's another challenging month. But these are the games. If you want to be at the business end of the season, you have to win. And we've done that well on Tuesday in the end.
Yeah, we certainly did. Forgot to say good evening to everyone who's joining us in the chat as well. Gary was first one in there saying evening all. We are on our way. Come on. You Reds. All hell let loose is in there. Richard's in there. Mickey, Sam, Joseph, Emma's in there. Andrew, John, Luke, Paul, Let us know your feelings ahead of Saturday's game. What did you make of the win against Barnsley? All of that jazz. Give us your thoughts. Email studio@charltonlive.co.uk. Tweet @CharltonLive, or you can send a live comment in the YouTube chat. Let's have a listen to the goal from Charlton TV in midweek. Brownie was alongside Terry.
And you've also got Gillesphey there. But, Berry looks the most likely at the minute as he lines up. No, he leaves it for Gillesphey, who strikes it to the right of the keeper, and it's gone in! Macaulay Gillesphey strikes from the free kick beyond the right hand of Smith, who I think was expecting the shot coming in from Berry to his left-hand side. Berry ran over the ball. Gillesphey met it cleanly along the ground and beyond the keeper to open the scoring.
Yeah, there's no surprises there. It's just a really poor bit of goalkeeping. He should save it, simple as that. I don't need to dwell on it, but he hasn't, and Charlton are 1-0 up, and I mistook Gillesphey for Edwards. It wasn't the best strike, it was a bit scuffed along the ground, but it had enough power on it to cause Smith a few issues, but he won't want to see that back too many times, the keeper for Barnsley.
He almost dived beyond it, didn't he?
He was underneath him. It's a poor bit of goalkeeping, Tel, but it's 1-0 Charlton.
You're on mute, Nath. Lou.
Oh, I gave it the big build-up as well. So that was as I was saying at the start. The keeper probably should have done a bit better with that one. But overall, in that second half, when I felt nervous in that second half, but I shouldn't have, because they didn't have a shot on target. We did exactly what we had to do. We should have killed it off, but it's another win in SE7 and another game without conceding at home.
We were chatting after the game, weren't we, on WhatsApp, and I think me and Nath were saying that we've become conditioned to feel like we can't win those games because in the past 3 or 4 seasons, we just haven't. And this season isn't the same. And even when we've come up against Birmingham away is the only one really in recent times where it's been a team kind of up there that we've played against and we've lost. I kind of went to Birmingham, and I know we were all kind of thinking maybe we'll get something, but I think in my heart of hearts, I was like, this is going to be tough. And obviously it proved that way. And yes, Barnsley aren't up there to quite the same extent, but they're obviously been in the Championship very recently. They're a good side. I thought Keeler Dunn was an excellent player against us, and we weren't at our best. I didn't think we weren't the best version of ourselves, but you're right. We did keep them at arm's length. And when you leave the game, you think, actually, we probably did deserve to win that game on balance of play. It was nothing flashy, but we restricted them and we got over the line. And I think it was Nath that said 18 months ago, we probably would have lost the game or drawn it. And I think I agree. But as I say, I came back with the fact that you just come to those games and you just don't, it feels unusual to win. And the more that it happens, the less unusual it's feeling. And that's really exciting, because now going on to Stockport on Saturday, I'm going up there thinking, a bit like I was with Birmingham, thinking, okay, maybe we can get something there. Obviously, it's another tight game. They're 2 points above us, albeit we've got the game in hand. So it's another massive one. It was the same Orient away. You go there thinking, okay, now we're playing a team around us. We're going to struggle. Okay, it took us till the last minute, but on the balance of play, we probably deserved all 3 points, certainly deserved a draw. And I just think at the moment with momentum, and I know Nathan Jones talks about it today, with momentum, we just feel completely fearless. Even when we're not at our best, we feel like we can get something. And as a fan, that's all you can really ask for. And we've said a few times, it's so exciting to just at least be involved and be part of the conversation coming into the latter part of the season. But the way we're playing at the moment, it's going to take something really good to stop us, or we're going to have to play poorly. And on Tuesday, we didn't play poorly. We weren't at our best and we still managed to win. And yeah, that's all positive as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, Lily says, wasn't the cleanest win. Thought we were up and down, but still so glad to see them work hard and put in a shift. I mean, we'll hear from Nathan Jones later on in the show, Nath. But I mean, he references we weren't at our fluent best. But I mean, after the weeks we've had, and against the Barnsley side who have I think most amount of away wins in the division this season with 10. They scored quite a few goals over the weekend against Lincoln, and considering I think they did pose a bit of a threat in that first half, the way that we managed to shut up shop and deal with that, and really we should have put a couple more in in the second half as well. We had enough chances to take perhaps a bigger lead into the closing stages. Like even though it was a bit of a grinder, Gary says we ground it out. I still came out. It was almost as satisfying as any of the other wins we've had this season, because a 3-0 against Exeter is easy. A 1-0 against Barnsley is actually a little bit tougher.
Yeah, exactly. And you're not gonna, unless Birmingham lost on Tuesday, didn't they? But you're never going to come into a season and you're going to play well every single game for 90 minutes week in, week out. Not even Liverpool do that. Look at them yesterday. They've just grown out of results. So there are games where you're going to have to suffer a bit against good opposition. And that's, we can't be too arrogant. I know we're on a good bit of form, but we've got some good players in this division. Barnsley have good players, the Humphreys and Adam Phillips. They've got some good players in there, O'Connell. And yeah, there are going to be games where you're not going to be at your best and you're not going to dictate the play. But at this point of the season, it's all about getting points on the board. Like if we drew 1-1 yesterday but played brilliantly, so funnily enough, the reverse fixture against Stockport, played brilliantly, got to come away with a point. But it was like, well, you don't get another point for playing really well. You just get the 3 points or the 1 or the nothing. So at this point of the season, it's about getting on the pitch, taking each game as it comes and try and get that win. And we did yesterday by hook or by crook. And I think a lot has to say on the fitness. I can't remember the last time where we had hardly any injuries, apart from Ash, really, unless I've missed someone. The fitness of this team is unbelievable, unbelievable. And that comes in to play when you think about last-minute goals, whether we're the best in the top, all the leagues in Europe, concentration levels, defending your box, all of that comes into play, and you're going to need that throughout the season. So I'm with you. There might not be, from now until the end of the season, we're not going to win pretty every single game. But if we win, that's all I really care about. And I think what everyone really cares about.
Yeah, I don't mind winning ugly, whether that be home or away in the yellow shirt, of course, but which is an ugly kit. But Andreas says Macca is becoming our most dangerous goal scorer now. Another one for Macca. So that's his 4th of the season, which is his highest return in a league season in his career, which is excellent. Second in 2 games as well. The best technician at the club, or he can bend a free kick in, it turns out. I'd argue that it wasn't technically the best goalkeeping in the division we saw from that shot, but did take a little deflection on the way through. But yeah, fair play to Macca. He picked his spot and just about managed to squeeze it through.
Beckham-esque, wasn't it? Yeah, not the best goal you're ever going to see, but a bit like Nate says, it doesn't matter. It was a bit like the performance. It was scrappy. It wasn't the prettiest, but it did what we needed it to do, which is go in the back of the net. And I think Macca came under a lot of criticism from a lot of people, myself included, and rightly so, because he was making mistakes. He felt like the weak link. And I don't know if it is just McIntyre coming in, who supposedly plays in his position, or whether that's just coincidence. But the last 6 weeks or so, he has properly stepped up. I still worry when he gets the ball at the back that he might have a mistake in him, but that's more me worrying as a fan. I don't think he's given me any reason to do that in recent weeks, certainly that I can remember. And then when he's adding goals to his game as well, obviously that then counteracts all of that. You think of the Blackpool game, and obviously literally costing us there. But even the mistakes he'd made earlier in the season, it was a concern, and I think we all thought it was the weak link. So fair play to him. I'm not going to decide whether he's balanced it out or not. I don't really care whether he's now in credit or not, but he's scoring important goals at important times, and exactly that. The goals that he's scoring are making a big difference on our points tally as well. So, yeah, as I say, I don't know if it's that he's being pushed now. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like a lot of the stuff that's happening now, that it's just taken a while to settle in. But I think we were nervous about him last season too, under other managers, and something seems to have clicked. Maybe it's a confidence thing. I don't know. But yeah, another goal, another pretty good performance. Obviously, another clean sheet for that back 5-6. To add to the 500 others they've got this season. It's really encouraging. And as I say, he deserves a lot of credit for that. I thought his interview the other week, I can't remember which game it was after, maybe the Peterborough one, I thought he just came across really well. And as I say, I think the criticism of him was absolutely fair in terms of his performances earlier on and the mistakes he was making. But it's just as fair to praise him now, because he's been very, very solid at the back, and he's now weighing in with goals as well. And as a team sharing goals out, I don't know when Godden did last score, but he certainly hasn't scored a lot recently. We have been sharing them out across the defence and the midfield, and you need players to do that. And he's done it. Jones has done it once or twice, I think. Small obviously did it once. we need those goals coming in from everywhere. So yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Definitely on Saturday, I can't remember if it was the same on Tuesday. I was sort of looking through the starting 11. I was like, every obviously apart from the goalkeeper, every single player in our starting 11 on Saturday had at some point scored this season. I was wondering if that's something that's happened before. You know, it doesn't feel like that's the sort of thing that happens. But obviously, Macca, like I say, up to 4 now. Yeah, I agree. His confidence seems up. When we spoke to him after the game against Peterborough, he sort of said he doesn't get too up, too down. But I wonder what sort of job Nathan Jones has done with him, because there's been times where he's taken players on and improved them, and I just wonder if that maybe has been what he's done with Macca. You know, he's played a part in a defence that's kept 15 clean sheets in League One this season, 3 times as many as we kept last season in all competitions. It's ridiculous. My favourite stat at the moment is one I sort of worked out before the game on Tuesday, but decided not to tweet until bang on full time because you knew what would happen if I had before, is that we haven't conceded a goal in open play at the Valley since December. The last person to score against us in open play at the Valley was Richard Kone for Wickham at the end of December. We've had 1 goal conceded in the last 7 or so now, 6 or 7, and that was that penalty from Peterborough. So, I mean, the defence is all playing its part, and Macca is playing a big part in that, Nave.
Yeah, he is. And I think, we look at previous seasons and then you think, well, he was part of a defence that wasn't that great last year. But then you also look at the other couple of people, excluding Lloyd Jones, the other couple that were with him, and you're thinking, well, maybe it is a confidence thing. But if you're standing next to 2 other players that can't defend, then you're obviously part of that unit, and maybe it is a bit of confidence thing. I mean, I remember earlier in this season when, I can't remember what games it was, but Macca was getting absolutely abused from Nathan Jones, not personally, but in terms of just constant instruction. So it can only be that he's been coached. Confidence is a big thing. It's fairly consistent, apart from, Ramsey coming in for Mitchell. It was quite a settled team, really. And that's a big, a big plus for him, having a consistency across that back line, keeping clean sheets and confidence. And he's obviously got 4 goals now. And I think some of the talk at the beginning of the season when losing Alfie was, where are the goals going to come from? And rightly so, that was a concern. But Matty Godden isn't a slouch at this level by any stretch. He's a fantastic striker at this level, and all across the team, everyone's chipped in, and that's what we've needed for years. But yeah, I'm delighted with Macca. He gives a little bit of when I think Nathan come out and say he was the best technical player we had. Reminds me of the old days when Bose was here and he said about Naby Sarr, like left-footed centre halves. I mean, you can compare Macca and Naby, quite similar in some ways and quite a lot different in lots of other things. But I think I'm happy for him because he seems quite humble, and he's part of a good unit that is solid. There might be a mistake in him, as Tom says, but you can't grumble from where he was earlier in the season with the mistakes he had in him. It's unfortunate he doesn't do it on purpose, but to where he is now. So it's really, really nice to see. He has a little beck and whip in his locker as well, which is nice. Yeah,
you reminded me actually when you're talking about the enthusiastic instruction that he was getting from Nathan Jones at times. In pre-season, he was getting absolutely ripped to shreds by Nathan. Yeah, again, constructively, I guess, but Nathan's delivery is the delivery of a football manager. It's always going to be, if my manager spoke to me like that at work, I'd feel a little, my back would get up a little bit. But I remember that at Dartford away. He's giving him all sorts of instruction. But yeah, Luke says Nathan has backed Macca fully. Literally played him when he was making back-to-back mistakes in games, and faith in him is coming good now. That sort of stuff. Loads of people saying that. Stuart saying Nathan's backed him. He's one of our better players now. Rustor saying defence will not be changed barring injury. Superb effort from them all season. Feel so comfortable with all of them as well. I'd say probably the first 20 minutes or so were when Barnsley looked their most dangerous. That Keller Dunn, as you mentioned, had their best real chance where it would look quite uncharacteristically for us. He actually walked through our entire defence and then shot straight at Mannion. I mean, there were a few moments in that sort of opening 20 minutes where I remember someone tweeted me saying we might have to get Will to go down injured soon. But luckily, well, not luckily, but one of their players got a genuine injury that gave Nathan a chance to pull ours over for a bit of a chat. And then after that, things seemed to settle down, Tom.
Yeah, that moment you talk about where he danced through the entire team, I thought Nathan Jones was going to come onto the pitch and knock a couple of our players out or substitute them immediately. He was absolutely raging. The first 5 minutes in particular of both halves, we couldn't get anywhere near them. They could have been, I mean, I don't know how many chances they actually created, but if we'd have been 5-0 down after 5 minutes, I'd have been like, well, fair enough. It felt like we had about 1% of possession, and even that was just clearing the ball. And as you say, obviously it lessened a little bit for the... and then slowly we gradually started to get into the game. But the same happened at the start of the second half. They made those 3 subs at half time. And for 5 minutes or so, it was pretty relentless. But then again, just died off. And I think that's the thing. When teams are coming up against us now, they know that, as Nath said, that we're going to run and run. We've got the stamina. We've got the fitness. We're not really getting too many injuries. And so they've got to take their chances. And if they don't take them, we're just going to finally get into our groove. And then they're not going to see our goal anywhere. And Mannion might as well have a sit down next to the post, to be honest, because once we're in that sort of frame of mind, it's very, very hard. As you say, we're going all the way back to December till there's been a goal from open play. So teams have to take those chances. And fair play to Barnsley. They really went for it and they just couldn't get through us. And then, as I say, their momentum slowed down. We grew into the game, obviously got our goal, luckily, and then we were just in complete control again, albeit not at our best. So, yeah, as Nath said, they were a dangerous team. I thought they were a good side. They're a little bit lower than I feel like they should be. I think some of the teams up around us, obviously Hollywood FC, you look at them, I can't think that they were any better than Barnsley. All right, they're a bigger name and they're paying their players 250 grand a week, but I don't see what they offered that they don't. Wickham, teams like that. I just don't think I've seen teams that, I'm not saying Barnsley were Barcelona or anything like that, but Barnsley could be up there as well. They've got just as much chance. I thought they were a good side and we still managed to beat them, even not our best. And yeah, I think if you can do that, that's a good sign, isn't it?
Yeah, they'd won their last 3 before coming into the game, Barnsley. I mean, they had gone 6 without a win before that, I think, but they're no mugs. They're an upper mid-table sort of playoff chasing side, Barnsley, and they've got decent enough players. I think some of their fans are talking as if they've got problems off the pitch again, which will be interesting to see. But yeah, it was a very important result for us. In terms of going forward, Nath, I'll get the graph up in a sec because again, it's been asked for now. A lot has been made of the momentum that we're on, and it'd be very nice to secure the home leg of a playoff being the second leg. Let's put it that way first before we start getting carried away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just I know it's boring, but I'm just focusing on the next game. I know it's very easy and very what's the word I'm looking for? I'll just stick with easy to try and predict the scores from this weekend. What Wickham are going to do, what Huddersfield are going to do. Like, and we can be there till the cows come home and try and do it, and we'll go, we finished second. Like, there's going to be so many twists and turns. There's going to be games where we don't play great. There may be games we lose. There may be games we draw in the last minute, whether that's good or bad. Like, there's so many things. And I just think, yeah, I mean, the first step is just reaching the playoffs. That's the first goal. And anything can change. We're all playing each other in the top 6. I think we're playing, 3 of them until now to the end of the season, or maybe 4, maybe. So you've got those games to contend with. You've got Bolton. Bolton beat Birmingham. Probably, if people were predicting scores, I don't think most people would have done that. So it just proves that it's so hard to try and think that far ahead. And I know it's boring, but I'm literally just thinking Stockport Saturday, then Crawley. You know, a lot of people are probably banking on us beating Crawley, and then that's our game one, the game in hand 1. You can't think like that. It's too dangerous to do it. We've got some good teams. We've got to earn the right. But yes, if we get in the playoffs, a home game for the second leg would be the ideal. So it's sort of Doncaster vibes all over again. But even still, you think of the Doncaster game. Me and Tom met before the game. Go, right, early goal for Charlton. Easy, mate, easy work. Bielik pops up, bam, right in the onion bag, and then we're sitting there biting our nails with John Marquise crying on the floor. Mental, isn't it? So that's what I mean. Anything can change. So that's why I'm not trying to get too excited. I did for a second there. Sorry about that.
Yeah, well, you sounded very excited there, Nathan.
Yeah. So I'm trying to keep it down, mate. I'm trying, but it's hard. But
this won't help. So I've added the line for second place on the graph. Again, it's a bit small. Hang on, let me zoom in for you. So those of you watching on YouTube, so on average, you've needed about 90 points this season. We're currently on a points per game over the course of the season looking nearer 80. But there's a couple of caveats with that, where it turns out we're like the best team on earth. So our recent form is going up at a points per game ratio that if we were to continue our form over the last 10 games for the rest of the season, we'd get to about, I think it was about 86, 87. And if Wycombe were to continue their form over the last 10 games, we'd be ahead of them going into the last few games of the season. So, Tom, is it possible? I refuse to countenance the fact that it was possible until just now. Like, should we only worry about 6th and 5th and 4th and 3rd and 4th, and then anything else is a bonus? Or should we not put the pressure on them and say, actually, you've got a chance of getting second here? How do we manage this?
I think as fans, we can get as excited as we want, like Nate was 2 minutes ago. I think as players, they just need to be looking at the next game. And arguably, if we finish 6th, I don't care. Like, I'll take that, whatever, especially given where we were in December. But I think in terms of fans, why not dream? Like you say, there's nothing to say. We've got to play all the teams around us. I don't think second place is going to be anywhere near as many points as it has been in recent seasons. I don't think it's not impossible that we get there. Of course, it's unlikely. I don't know how many times it would have happened on that to go up that much. But let's aim for it. Let's aim for it. If the players think that, then we'll probably end up dropping out of the top 6. As Nave says, they need to concentrate on just the next game. All they need to worry about is Stockport. But I think your question to me was, is it possible? Absolutely, it's possible. I think you look at the sides around. As Nave said, even Birmingham lost on Tuesday. I think title is probably out of the question. But, anyone up in this top 6 can lose games. And that does include us, supposedly, although we haven't seen it for a little while. So, yeah, we've just got to go in one game at a time. But every time you win, obviously, because of the way the results are going on the whole, that second place gets a little bit closer. And, in mid-December, I think we were talking, and for the first time in a long time, I'd written off the playoffs. And I don't do that every year. And here I am 4 years on, and I'm finally happy to see this graph. So some things just take a bit of time. But, I think it's absolutely possible. Personally, I don't think it's going to happen, but I don't care. I think if we just get in the playoffs, same as you talking about, do we want the home leg or second home or away or whatever? I think let's just get there. Let's just get there because there's a long way to go and we can drop as soon as we've climbed. But the way we're playing at the moment, if you were another team, if this was a podcast about Stockport or about any other club apart from Leyton Orient, who seem to hate us, you'd be saying Charlton are the team in form up there. They're the ones that are going to be pushing everybody else. But because it's our own club, we don't necessarily think the same way, do we? So, yeah. Game at a time. But I've done exactly like Nathan, got all excited about second place now. Yeah,
well, no, so I'm not writing off champions yet. Rustor says, haha, champions. To be fair, if we're going to do that, is there any chance we can jump up into the relegation places in the championship? See how high we really can go. As Dean says, it's not possible. It's not possible in October and November, according to the show. Well, it wasn't then. Everyone's got sort of a master's in hindsight in that. But anyone who, after we lost at home to Crawley, said, we'll be fine, we'll turn it around, is a liar. Like, it's an incredible turnaround we've had since then. Alex says, is it bad that I miss Terrell, Thomas and Hector at the back having absolute clangers week in, week out? Well, I'm sure you can go and watch Carlisle if you want to see some clangers, Alex, or Park football. I don't really know what Hector's up to at the moment. But excellent. Right, let's hear from Nathan Jones, shall we? After everyone's getting carried away in the chat about second, but there are people being, still saying, like James is saying, 6th will be a great finish. Let's get in the playoffs. Like I say, let's see where we are. Let's give it another 5 games, and if we've won 4 out of 5, then let's start to really get excited. Let's hear what Nathan Jones said after the game against Barnsley. Came to speak to myself after the win. This is what he had to say. Nathan, yet another win here in SC7. How did you see that one today?
I thought it was a brilliant win against a very, very difficult side to play against. First off, I thought they were really lively. We didn't get to grips with it. We got the goal at a good time, which kind of settled things a little bit. But made a few little tweaks second half, and I thought we were comfortable second half. They're a good side. Their front players are excellent. You look at Kayla Dunn, and you look at Adam Phillips and people like that who are good footballers and cause real problems. They've won the last 3. They scored 4 on the weekend. They're a free scoring side, so to keep a clean sheet against them was very good. And look, any win at the minute is massive.
No shots on target from them in the second half. So when it could have been nervy, your side did what they had to do.
Yeah, and look, to be fair, if we take our chances, then we win it. It's a little bit more comfortable. We know we've had some good chances without playing as our fluent best. But you got to understand it's a tough week. You won't get many tougher weeks than this in League One. Leyton Orient away, who have been in excellent form. Barnsley at home in excellent form, and then we have to go to Stockport. So you have to forgive us a little lack of fluency tonight, but we found a way to win a game, and I'm delighted.
Yeah, and to react from Saturday's win, and obviously the energy that was expended in that to put in a performance today to get another 3 points, was that easy to sort of get them back concentrating again? No.
Look, you've got to keep them at it. That's the thing, and it takes a lot. The mental energy of the win on Saturday and what it took. And I said that's worth nothing if we don't show up tonight, and if we take our foot off the gas or think that we've done, or literally feel sorry for ourselves because we think, well, we've had and had to go to 96, 97 minutes and so on. But they were at it. Game changers that came on really added a real impetus. And as I said, it's a real squad game. But I thought we were excellent second half. We handled everything they threw at us. Or we controlled more of the game in terms of that. We didn't. Will didn't have any big saves to make where their keeper did. So I was pleased. I'm pleased with the win. I'm pleased with the level of performance, and I'm pleased with another clean sheet, which again, from that defensive solidity and base, we're showing we're a good side.
I think you haven't conceded a goal in open play here since December now. It's remarkable how long that run's gone, but it's such a good base to build upon at home.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And it's wonderful. Home form has been excellent. We've 8 out of 9, and the other one we drew at Reading and should have won that. So look, we're in good form, but look, every game as it comes, cliche. We've got a few days now to dust ourselves down, and we've got a massive game on the weekend.
Described Macaulay as the best technician at the club previously, and I think you showed that with the goal tonight.
Yeah, and he's starting to score goals, which is good, because we want centre halves to score. We don't think we don't expect him to score from there, but he is one of the best technicians. For this level, he's high, technically very, very high in terms of how he executes stuff. And we've asked him to be certain stuff and add certain stuff to his game, and he has, and he's been in good form. And he's only got to look at his record; he plays pretty much every week.
Up to 5th now as well. It'd be easy to get carried away, I guess, but still a long way to go.
No, there's no one getting carried away at this football club. Well, no one that I come into contact with every day. So we won't. We know what we got to do. We got to keep winning, or keep taking each game as it comes. We've got to win. We've got a game in hand on some. We've got to make sure that we hammer home all these things. But look, it's relentless at the minute. We've got 3 games now until hopefully a break. And I said we've got to keep this momentum going. But we've got to be, we've got to be right at it. We've got to realise what's got us to this position and keep getting better, because we can't rest on our laurels. Every week that we're here, every week that we work, it's not about just going through the motions. It's about getting better, getting results, but getting better in what we do and believing in what we do. And at the minute, we're in a good place.
There we go. That's Nathan Jones speaking to myself on Tuesday. You'll note that he enjoyed one of my stats in that little conversation, which is always a nice moment. Of course, 50 games up for Nathan in the league with us. Tom nominated for manager of the month as well, by the sounds of it. So, yeah, I did enjoy. Obviously, I didn't put his whole interview with me just there, but there was the end of his interview with Charlotte where he talked a bit more about his 50 games, and he's been through a ride with us, a bit of a roller coaster certainly, and he's referenced how he's had to get the fans on side, but I think he has again now.
Yeah, I thought you were going to make reference to the fact he'd be celebrating with a few chicken nuggets and a leffe, wasn't it? I think he said so. Yeah, and fair play to him, and I know we've had this discussion a fair bit, but the criticism of the way we were playing was absolutely fair, I think, for the large part of the early part of this season. I think as I think Nath said the other day, the abuse he was getting, maybe not so, but the criticism of the performances was fair because we weren't playing the way we are now. It's as simple as that. And but fair play to him. He's addressed that. He's built us into a very good side. I think we've been patient with him. I don't know how close he ever was to getting the sack or the club worrying about that. But if it was close, that was madness. Because as I kept saying at the time, although I wasn't happy with results and performances, we need to give our manager time. Because if you don't and you just rotate, you're not going to get anywhere. How many of our recent managers have got to 50 games? So we've got someone in now who's had a chance to build his own squad, have time, have a couple of rocky patches, and now see the results of that, irrespective of whether it gets us to the playoffs or the second place or the title or not. You can see what happens when you give a manager time. Like Nath was saying earlier about Gillesphey, look at the way he's coaching these individuals and making them better players. So, I'm absolutely delighted for him. I mean, when we lose and when we're in a bad patch, obviously the way he is can rub people up the wrong way. I get that. But when we're on form, it's absolutely brilliant, isn't it? The way he talks about it all. And as I say, his sideline antics are just fantastic. But it's working. You have to say that. It is working. So, I'm really delighted for him. Hopefully we get 50 more. And hopefully a lot of those are in the Championship and who knows, maybe beyond. But not that I'm getting carried away. But then he doesn't see me every day. So I think it was only people he interacts with every day that aren't getting carried away. So, fair play to him. And, as he says, just on to the next one now.
Yeah, I did wonder who he was referring to when he said people he deals with every day don't get carried away. Was it? He must be talking about us fans, talking about trying to get promoted into the relegation places in the Championship before the end of the season. Where was that message? Paul says, one game at a time, cliche but true, but we're turning up for these massive games now and gaining more and more momentum. Nobody will fancy playing us at this moment in time. Yeah, and the momentum behind us is just remarkable. Like it makes Saturday very exciting, 4th versus 5th as well. And we'll talk more about that game. And Dean, I think it was earlier on in the chat, just asked about the Peterborough game. We still don't know if it's going to be off. Now, in that interview there, you would have heard Nathan say about a break coming up. So I did actually ask him after if he's referring to the Peterborough game being off, and he said we don't know either way at this moment in time. But either way, that week is no game on a Tuesday week, so he's seeing that as like a break to do stuff on the training ground rather than playing Tuesday. So we don't know for certain either way. It can go up to the week before we find out if we're going to get that game called off for international break. But yeah, we'll find out in due course. Right, a couple of emails came in. Simon says, great pod to get excited for the running. He's done his own little points prediction. He's got us finishing on 80 points, and that's with a pretty generous return of wins. Although he has put in a few draws along the way as well. So, but he's had a little look. He said it could be quite exciting at the business end of the season, where we could go into the playoffs having secured it quite early towards the end of the run. Looking at his run, which would be good. McSquared says that whatever happens in the remainder of this season, this is undoubtedly the best shape that we've been in since the arrival of Roland Rat and the departure of Chris Powell. We finally have a manager that is both of the required quality and who clearly truly cares, and a playing squad that are pulling in the same direction. He says, furthermore, it's the best squad we've had since 2012, 2013, when we finished 9th in the Championship. I saw someone else mention whether it's the best squad we've had for a while, up a bit further up, Nave. I mean, briefly, what do you reckon? I mean, is it better than the Bowyer squad? Is it around the same level as the Powell squad? I mean, how do you see it? It's debatable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's horses for courses, really. But I would say it's probably one of the most efficient and industrious squads that I've seen in terms of aggression and work rate. Bowyer was different because the diamond, and you just had amazing individuals that dovetailed so well. Powell was a different story because we just more or less had the chemistry and the best players from the league, it seemed. But I think in terms of how we're built structurally, I think it's up there, and it's our organisation. Like the defending is unbelievable, and we've touched on it before. I think a lot of people won't like playing us, not just because we're in a bit of form, for the fact that our starting 11 is good, but then we have so many different dimensions on that bench, attacking wise. That's why I think Barnsley started fast, because they knew their bench didn't really have anything to cope with. They knew if we got a goal up, we've got Chooks, Miles, DK weren't there, Gassan. We've got so many different options to come off the bench. Well, that's why I think a lot of people don't like playing us. So I think industry, yes, and I think depth, I think it's up there, because Bowyer was good, but Josh Parker and lovely guy, but we didn't have that depth before.
Lovely stuff. Right, let's hear from Tuesday night's goal scorer before we turn our attention to Saturday's win. This is Macaulay Gillesphey after the win over Barnsley. Macaulay, so he scored a header on Saturday, but a free kick today. Talk us through that one.
It's been a long time coming, that one. I think with Bez has taken the last probably 10 free kicks, and I said to him, I fancy this one today, and thankfully it's crept in.
Nathan called you the best technician at the club a few months ago. Is that what he was talking about, your little free kicks like that?
Possibly, I don't know. I'm not too sure about that, to be fair, but yeah, I'll take it.
Do you hit quite a lot of them like that in training then?
To be honest, I don't actually practice free kicks very often. I'm usually just a decoy for Bez, but like I say, today I fancied it, so I just took it.
Yeah, and just a case of just trying to catch the keeper out, I guess, with the low one.
Yeah, I think the low ones are quite hard for the keeper. I can't really see it. He always sees it late, and it took a little deflection as well, which helped along the way. And
so you follows up your goal from Saturday, so you're getting a little eye for the goal now, aren't you?
I know, yeah, keep them coming. Buzzing scoring, it always helps, doesn't it? And I'm so happy with it. Like,
were you happy with the goal or the clean sheet?
Clean sheet's the one for us, I think, defenders.
Yeah, I mean, it felt sort of nervy in that second half, but if you look at the stats, like, they didn't have a shot on target, so you guys did what you had to do in that second period. Yeah,
they're a good side, dangerous going forward, but I thought we were excellent today as a team, pressing and defending as a team. I thought we were excellent.
And as you say, their away form is really good as well. So it's another big team that's come here and been beaten. Obviously, Charlton's home record has been so good over the last few months now.
Yeah, of course. I think we've just got to believe in ourselves and just keep plugging away and getting good results.
And up to 5th now, ahead of Saturday's game, which is quite an exciting place against 4th place side.
Yeah, another big game Saturday. Just keep them coming, try and get results.
And after Saturday, I thought, with the celebrations and everything, there's probably took quite a lot of emotional energy out of you. How hard was it to get up and go again today?
To be fair, once the games are over, you just got to focus on the next one, and that's what we've done as a squad today.
Yeah, and looking ahead to the rest of the season, I think a few weeks ago we were saying there's probably going to be a lot of ups and downs, but Charlton have got themselves on such good form at the moment. Does it just feel like it's the case of just keeping this going as long as you can? Yeah, that's exactly it. Just concentrating every game as it comes and just try and get the good results. What did you make of the sort of reaction from the crowd at full time today? They really sort of come on board over the last few months. Yeah, of course. Yeah, now the fans are class, to be fair, and you could really yell them today, which helps. And the psychology of obviously winning against a playoff rival Saturday, winning against another side trying to get into the battle today. I mean, do you think that sort of sends a statement of sorts to the other sides in and around Charlton? Yeah, possibly, yeah. But I think just within our group, I think the most important thing is just to concentrate on every game as it comes, and that's exactly what we're doing.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade supplier of steel fabrication and erection services to the new build, construction and refurbishment market in southern England. With their unrivaled depth of experience, they excel at providing their customers with high quality and cost-effective steel fabrication solutions. Their customers include national and regional house builders, such as Barratt Homes, Bellway Homes, the Vistry Group and Taylor Wimpey. They pride themselves on their service-based ethos and commitment to customer service excellence, which includes full technical backup and on-site services and support. If you would like more information, go to www.psfsteel.co.uk. That's www.psfsteel.co.uk.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the river. See you soon.
Right, welcome back to Charlton Live. This is the big match preview. Currently in the comments section, there's a question about how many Geordies we've had playing for us. And season's gone by. Around this time of year, we'd probably try and make that run for about 20 minutes while we try and fill some time. But no time for that conversation today. There's also a debate about whether Stephen Henderson is Welsh or Irish. He's definitely Irish, whenever I've spoken to him, unless he's Welsh and putting on an accent. But yeah, we won't worry about that now. Let's turn our attention to another massive game. They keep coming for the Addicts at the moment, away to Stockport County on a Saturday. Delighted to say that Russ from the Scarf Bagara War podcast joins us now. How you doing, Russ?
Evening, you okay?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. Thanks for your time this evening. Big game coming up on Saturday, 4th versus 5th. Obviously, following promotion last season, it's been another very good year. It feels like for Stockport County.
Yeah, it has, but not unexpected. I think we spoke earlier in the season. I might have mentioned it, but just to remind people, we've got our own investment akin to the Wrexham lot. So if you'd have asked me before the season started, I'd have said 12th or above. But the club basically said enjoy the ride because we've got a plan to get to the Championship within 7 years, and we've got 2.5 years left of that. Well, less than 2.5 years left of that now. So whatever we do this season's a bonus. We're just there to mix it up a bit. So the pressure's not on us, I think, is as we go into these sort of last 12 games, I think.
Hi, Russ. Obviously, hello, mate. Yeah, obviously, looking at when Stockport came up, we knew you played some nice stuff, and you're a very good organisation. Don't concede a lot of goals. I mean, obviously, I don't watch Stockport every week. So, I mean, in terms of the teams that you've played so far this season, I know there was a bit of I think it was Northampton where there was a bit of a dodgy result there. But are there any sort of types of teams or styles of play that you seem to struggle against, as it were?
Yeah. Well, the teams that sort of drag us down to their level, the ones that are like Northampton away, who were desperate for points. We lost at Cambridge a couple of weeks ago. They were desperate for points. They did a number on us. There's another one that escapes me. But yeah, Mansfield as well. Any Nigel Clough team we seem to struggle against. So it's those teams really that sort of do the dark arts and are pretty strong and no nonsense. We don't do well against those, but all the others we seem to do well against. I think if you watch the not the Top 20 podcast and you look at the underlying data, if that's what your listeners go for, some do, some don't, then we're probably near the top in terms of our output and the numbers. So one of the highest performing teams in the division. But yeah, it's just those. It's those ones with wily managers who can get the best out of their teams, who haven't maybe got the best talent and best ability, but are structured, know how to play, lack fluidity, that kind of thing, and knock us about a bit.
Russ, you weren't a one-man team, of course, but obviously Louis Barry was a huge influence in the early part of the season. And I think, obviously, as a fan of a potential rival now, we're disappointed that it hasn't fallen off. I'm sure you're obviously the opposite, but what's Dave Challoner and what have the team had to do to adapt sort of as we've gone through January and into this second half of the season to continue what's been clearly good form still?
Yeah, it's a question that I've been asked on every opposition podcast since he left, to be fair. And it's a really interesting one because he's 16 goals and something like half a dozen assists. So you can't replace that like for like. It's just impossible unless you get another cheat code for League One, which is the very few and far between. In the window, we went for a sort of a direct replacement, if you like, in Mika Hamilton, who was at City a couple of years ago, scored in his Champions League debut. But he's not really hit the ground running. He's not getting that many minutes, so that's kind of fell by the wayside. I think what it's done is allowed other players to be more free and to sort of, I won't say have more possession, but just be a bit more sort of expressive with the ball, I think. And that's what's really happened. Collar's come on massively. Ollie Norwood, who we got from Sheffield United. First half of the season, he probably got a bit of getting used to. It's probably a bit of a drop down for him, but he started to ping left, right, and centre now. So if he's fit, I'm sure he'll probably start on Saturday. And we had that in mind against Northampton. So yeah, it's hard to put your finger on it. There isn't one silver bullet that's done it. I think it's just a collective of Dave Challoner playing the way he likes to play, which is front foot. Intensity is our identity. That's what he says. That's what he goes for. We play five at the back. A lot of teams do that are near the top, I think. So I think it's just a collective of everybody mucking in and certain players, like 3 or 4 players, really, really stepping up.
That's a good catchphrase for a manager. That intensity is our identity. It's better than doing the basics or well coached, which is what we've got, but harder to say, I guess, every week. Just fine. I mean, how do you see Saturday going? Your home form is ridiculous. I mean, obviously you lost to Mansfield at the start of the year, but since then, other than the 5-0 sort of standout defeat against Wycombe, which seems to be a bit of a weird one, you've done really well at home over the last few weeks. How do you see sort of Saturday's game going with a side like us who haven't been as good on the road?
Yeah, I mean, don't forget as well, we got leathered at home to Leyton Orient earlier on in the season. They came and did us 4-1, so we're not immune to a good hiding at home. And if you come and things go your way, our fans can start to get on our back pretty quickly. So that's probably what is in your game plan. We are pretty good at home. I mean, if you look at the second half table, though, again, underlying data, if you go for that, blah, 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 we're actually sort of near the bottom in terms of second half. We spun that around on Saturday against a really good Blackpool team. They've been resurgent under Steve Bruce, and we came from behind for the first time this season, if I think I'm right in saying that, to win 2-1. So Saturday, it's a long-winded way of me saying I don't know how Saturday's going to go, because you're in really, really good form. You've reduced that gap again. since Monday, haven't you? So if you beat us on Saturday, you can go above us. I think that's probably a psychological edge that you've got, and Dave Challinor will definitely have that in his mind as well, I'm sure. So it's a really tough one. I don't know what to expect. You've got the full railway end as well, I think, and it's going to be a nice day. It's open covered, so you're not going to get rained on. So it's a really tough one. I can't really call it, and I know you're probably going to ask me for a score prediction at some point, but I honestly can't really call it. I think it just depends on how fast we come out of the traps. I heard some of you, as I was backstage, about sort of Barnsley and then trying it early on, and then they couldn't work it out, and then you sort of overtook them. Kind of what we're doing. We try to come out fast, and we try to blow teams away. If that doesn't work, we're kind of scratching our heads a bit. I'm absolutely not underplaying it, James. I'm really, really not underplaying it. I just don't think I'm not sure how it's going to go.
Well, we are absolutely walking. Well, we're second in the second half table, just behind Wickham. And to be fair, Stockport are seventh. But if the games were only played in the second half, we would be on 63 points, sitting in second. We'd actually be above Birmingham City. So I'm hoping we'll be able to take advantage of that over the weekend. Russ, thanks for your time. I think it's going to be a fascinating game on the weekend. Hopefully it'll be a good one. And good luck for the rest of the season after that.
No worries. Cheers for having me on. Cheers, fellas.
There we go. That's Russ from the Scarf Bagara War podcast. Really good to have him on the show again. Right, let's look ahead to the game from a Charlton point of view. Nathan Jones sat down for his presser with Tell earlier on today.
2 games into what is a tough and fairly brutal run of fixtures in March, not just because of the level of opposition, but the sheer number of games in a short space of time. How was the squad? We saw Therese go down fairly late on in the game on Tuesday night, for example. How was he? Ashley, how's Ashley coming on as well?
Look, Ashley's a bit further away, obviously, so it's that one we've just parked a little bit while he sort of gets back up to speed. He's out on grass and sort of jogging and stuff, but it's it's an injury that's going to be a little while yet. In terms of Tyrese, it's stuff that we monitor, but he's fine. It wasn't an injury as such. It was more sort of fatigue and cramping, and that can lead to injury if you're not careful. But no, as you would imagine, the squad's in good shape. There's real good competition. 1 or 2 got games with the 21s the other day as well to keep everything fresh, and then we've had a real good training session today. So the squad's in a good place.
Stockport County next up at Edgeley Park, just above us in the table, of course, and in their first season back in League One, as with the draw at the Valley when they came down. You'll be expecting a tough game.
Oh, absolutely. Dave's got them playing well. He's done a magnificent job there, and real good football club, good people, but a real tough team to play against. We saw the game down here was tough, and it'll be no different. Early kickoff on Sky, so much at stake, couldn't be better.
Yeah, another sold-out section of Charlton fans as well. Going to be around about 1,200 fans. We'll be back in the team. Stockport, decent effort, especially given the change in the fixture time. And on the back of Tuesday night when the band was rocking, especially towards the end there, and the celebrations you've already mentioned at Orient, when the fans stayed in for a good 20 minutes after the game. You've said you want the whole club and everybody associated with the club to go on the journey, and it looks like that's what's happening.
Well, God willing. Look, I expect it now. You've told me 1,200, 1,300, whatever it is, the Charlton fans are going to travel to Manchester, South Manchester, and back the team. That ain't a surprise to me. I expect that now. That's the level that the fans have shown that they're at in terms of that, and I don't take it for granted. But the whole club at the minute is in a good place, and we've always said and preached that we need everyone because we don't want any any sort of disjointed edges here or disjointed sort of fractions in the club, and we are aligned now. I think the ownership group is excellent, the people and the decision makers are excellent. We've got the squad and a staff that really wants to achieve anything, and loves being there, that wants to work, and then the fans now are seeing something they can get behind, which is good. So look, we have not achieved anything yet, but what we've done is take big steps forward, and we've had to take them little by little, but we have made big strides, and we've just got to continue that and keep that going forward, because momentum's a wonderful thing, but it can also shift if you're complacent.
There you go, Nathan Jones. They're looking ahead to the Stockport County game. Those second half stats. James saying I should show those to Nathan on Saturday. Imagine if we lose like 4-0 and all the goals come in the second half, and I'll be like, oh, I've printed this off for you, Nathan, but never mind. Ed asked earlier, Nathan, do you think we'll keep the same 11? I was a bit worried about Tyrese Campbell, how he faded. Hopefully they've had a few light days. So, yeah, TC went down, as Nathan Jones mentioned there, with what looked like cramp, I guess. Changes? We don't tend to make changes, Nathan. Which way? What do you think that Nathan Jones will be doing?
I don't think so. I think he's more or less kept it more or less consistent. I think the game that Karoy came in for, Exeter, wasn't it? And he was brilliant. So it was hard to drop him for the Orient game. But I can't see any changes happening. TC did look a bit leggy, but he offers us so much in terms of his dynamism and how we go forward. I just think we can't. And we have got. I just think it works well if we try the way that we play, and it's still a bit cagey, or we're losing and we have to go a bit more direct. You'd rather bring the likes of Chooks, Gas, and Miles on than having TC sitting on the bench where you've got to go down the side. So if he's fit, I would play him, even if you get 60 minutes out of TC, because I think he's so dangerous and he goes out wide, he drags people out of position. So for me, I wouldn't change anything at all unless there was an injury.
That's good. There's loads of good chat in the comment section about players who played for us who are Geordies, but we generally don't have time to do that today. Dudley pointing out that Sam was from Bolden up north. I met Dudley on Tuesday. Nice to meet you during the week, mate. So shame we can't really sort of enjoy that. Yeah, I mean, for yourself, Tom, as Nathan said there about TC and the changes, which way would you see it for yourself?
It's got to be the same, hasn't it? I said TC looked tired at Birmingham, and I think he's played every single minute since. And I've probably said he's still tired another 2 times. And then I swear when Godden got substituted, I saw TC go down on his haunches as if he was gutted he wasn't coming off because he was tired. But now I'm thinking I'm just seeing things and I'm just making all this up because he just runs and runs and runs for 90 minutes a week. So fair play to him. I clearly don't know what I'm doing. So based on that, yeah, I agree. I think why change it unless people actually are tired or if there's a niggle? I just don't see why you would. If you change it and it goes wrong, you look an idiot. And if you change it and goes right, well, we're on a good run anyway. So I just don't see that making a difference. I think McIntyre in his brief cameo looked good. I think Gilbert, every time I've seen him, has looked good. But if these players, exactly as Nath saying, if these players are making impact from the bench, then let them do it. Nathan is not afraid to change it. You know, last half an hour, change the side, give different players a run, and that strength in depth now. And I think we've talked about this a lot, that there aren't many areas of the pitch where when we bring somebody on off the bench, it really weakens us. So that's fine. You've got your starters, you've got your game changers or whatever it is Nathan Jones calls them. And I think that's fine. And, you know, if somebody comes in and bangs in a hat-trick or something like that, then maybe you have to change it. But I just don't see why you would at the moment. This formula is working. And as I say, if players do get tired, I know we've got another Tuesday next week, but after that, as you say, there is a break and possibly even a more extended break. If the Peterborough one gets moved, then there's time to recover. So I think he's just got to manage them carefully on the off days and just not train them too hard and just keep them fit. Bose was saying this at the player to manager event the other night about when you're in a run like this, and he was referencing the end of that season that Tell mentioned the other day with the Wickham game. You just keep them fit, basically. You keep them fit. You don't need to do much tactically, and you just keep that momentum going. So I think the momentum probably is more powerful at the moment than anything that changes could make. So you've just got to keep that same 11 unless you have to, I think.
Was Big Fat Peter Geordie? I didn't know that. Big Fat Peter Garland. I didn't know that one. There's as Luke says, Christmas quiz vibe at the moment because we're getting a lot of Geordie players in the chat. Ethan, first one to mention, but a few have mentioned actually as well. Thought about Gilbert maybe coming on for Berry a bit earlier than he usually didn't even come on Tuesday, did he? But you know, would you be tempted to bring him on or start him Saturday, Nath?
He's so good. Like, he is so good. Like, when he came in, I was surprised that he dropped this level, and then he got those 2. Well, he's got 3 assists now, isn't he? Again, he's doing so well on the ball. He's very good, has a great eye for a pass, but again, it's hard to drop Berry. Berry he obviously isn't as agile as obviously Gilbert, but he has experience. He can get you a goal from nothing. And he has been improving, Berry. So again, I can't really, as much as I want to see Gilbert a lot more, I think it'll be harsh to drop Luke Berry in the form that we are as a team. But yeah, I mean, and as we said, with the game changers, you get the height in terms of Gas and DK and Miles and Chooks. The one person you want to bring on fresh who can whip a ball in is someone like Gilbert. So it all plays into our hands. So I get why we're not doing it. But I think there will be times where Gilbert will probably start, and he'll probably deserve to start, because I think he's been brilliant. And we ain't really seen him. I know he's got a couple of assists from crosses and corners, but on the ball, we ain't really seen too much of him because he's only had little cameos. But if that's something to go by, then it's very, very promising from now to the end of the season.
He's played a couple of nice, incisive passes on the ball as well in those very limited minutes. But like I said, I don't know if you can change that. Dudley reckons that Big Fat Pete was a Croydon boy. I don't know. He's still knocking about on a match day. I'll ask him next time I see him. See if he's got a Geordie accent. Finally, Ethan as well said he bought 3 kits on Saturday, and the club shop was absolute carnage. Well done to Big Tommy Wallin. He's been sporting that yellow kit from day one this season, and he paid full whack for it. And I guess that's what you have to pay if you want to get a badge on your one. Unlike me, who's just my one's come naked. Just make sure, Ethan, when you check those kits when you get home, just count how many Charlton badges are on them. Right, and on that note, we'll leave it there. This has been the Big Match Preview. Massive thanks to everyone who's joined us live in the chat this evening. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to our podcast channels as well. Check out our merch store as well, charltonlive.etsy.com, and it's a personal guarantee that every time you buy a mug, it will definitely have the Charlton Live badge on it. So yeah, make sure you do that. Massive thanks to Russ from the Stockport County podcast who joined us earlier on today. Nathan and Tom, it's been an absolute pleasure to bask, especially Tom, in your yellow shirt glory.
Cheers, lads. See you
I'll
Saturday.
see you boys nice bright and early with a nice coffee, won't we? See your little faces on a train.
Yeah, I probably ought to mention at this point, it is a 12:30 kickoff on Saturday. Anyone's going, don't forget to turn up nice and early. I reckon I'll be out of the house before 6, which will be lovely as always. Wonderful. At least be home at a nice time at least, which I'm looking forward to that. Right, this has been Charlton Live's Big Match Preview, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. Many, many thanks for all of you who've joined us. I'm Louis Mendez. Look forward to seeing you again on Sunday morning.